Solve your life's problems and unlock a brighter future with Dr. Saket Bhatia, renowned astrologer and numerologist with 25 years of experience and 12,000 satisfied clients. Get happiness and success in career, finance, health, relationships, and more. Call 408-639-5300 or visit saketbhatia.com. Radio Zindagi.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Astrology Show with Dr. Saket Bhatia. And अगर आपने पहली बार tune in किया है, every Tuesday 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, Dr. Saket Bhatia is here with us in the studios of Radio Zindagi 96.7 FM, 5:40 AM and 13:10 AM. Just a little bit, वैसे तो कोई तारीफ की मोहताज नहीं है डॉक्टर साकित भाटिया. He's a very, very well-renowned astrologer and 25 साल से भी ज़्यादा experience है इनका astrology में. He's got a PhD in astrology, a certified numerologist, and he's actually has had over 12,000 clients, which includes a lot of celebrities like politicians, film stars, business people, and बहुत से नामचीन लोगों को इनकी clients list में included है. And he's also been felicitated by none other than the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji. So, it's a pleasure to always have him in the studio. And this show happens every Tuesday, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And welcome to the show, Dr. Saket. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Huma. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for asking.
And good afternoon to all the listeners of Radio Zindagi Tri-State area, New York. I'm glad to be back on the show. We come every Tuesday, I think 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, New York time. Get a chance to talk to people about their life's problems. We get to answer questions they might have on astrology. So, you can tell them if they have questions, they should call. Who knows, they might get the right answer for their life's problem.
Yeah, and then हालांकि हम शो अभी शुरुआत कर रहे हैं, लेकिन I really want to mention at this moment that Dr. Saket is very generous to take your phone calls, and एक question वो answer कर सकते हैं इस show के दौरान, that is 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock के दौरान. And the number to call the studios is 732-662-4701. That is 732-662-4701. वैसे प्राइवेट रीडिंग भी आप ले सकते हो, कंसल्टेशन भी आप कर सकते हो डॉक्टर साकेत के साथ. उसके लिए नंबर है 408-639-5300. That is 408-639-5300. And हर वीक डॉक्टर साकेत एक नया टॉपिक लेकर आते हैं. And this week, shall I say, this topic, maybe it's a little bit controversial, maybe it is a little bit scary. We are going to talk about Rahu today.
Yeah, we're going to talk about shadow planet Rahu. बहुत लोग कहते हैं कि हम पे राहु भारी है. Rahu is very bad in my chart. So we want to understand कि राहु होता क्या है, why Rahu is bad for some people and why Rahu is good for some people. And what are the benefits of Rahu and what Rahu can do and what Rahu takes away from you. Understanding चाहिए कि Rahu क्या करता है. Right? So today's show and maybe next show, we're going to get into details of who Rahu is, why Rahu is important in your chart, why Ketu is important in your chart. Without these two, life would be incomplete. So पहले तो हम समझेंगे कि
my understanding is because ये इतना sensitive और इतना important topic है, we might need two parts to this, right?
You will have to have two parts. See, Rahu and Ketu are exact opposites of each other. जब कुंडली बनती है, Rahu and Ketu sit exactly 180 degrees away. They can never sit together. Okay. There is no such thing as हम पे राहु भारी है या हम पे केतु भारी है. No, that is just a misconception. In general, Rahu, if it is very strong, it will make you want many things in life. It will give you money, fame, foreign travel. On the other hand, if it is too strong, it could also give you lots of diseases. Same with Ketu. Ketu is like a flag. जहां गाड़ दिया वहां बैठ जाता है. Ketu is a comfort zone. See, astrology is based on reincarnation. You have gone through life in the past. In your past life, whatever you did that you were comfortable with, that is where Ketu is. In your past life, the one thing you wanted that you did not get is where Rahu is. Okay. Remember, Rahu and Ketu are opposites. They are nodes. They are not planets. You cannot see them. If you cannot see them, then how do you put them on a chart, right? That's the next question. So, when the sun rises, we know, yahan rise hota hai, rises in the east, it sets in the west, correct? We know that very well. But moon also rises from some place and moon also sets somewhere, na?
Right.
The place where the moon rises, that is called Rahu. And the place where the moon sets, that is called Ketu. In astrology, these are also called Chaya Graha, means shadow planets.
Right.
Okay, they don't exist physically, but they exist based on the path of the moon. Why is moon important? Because moon is your emotion, moon is your mind. When the moon is rising in Rahu, it is what your mind wants, your unfulfilled desire. When moon is setting, Ketu, you're already tired. It's your comfort zone. You've had enough. So remember, these two shadow planets are always opposite to each other. They are represented by a snake. Rahu is the head, जिसकी कोई body नहीं है. Ketu is a body which has no head. So if you have a head, but you don't have a body, you can keep on eating as much as you want. You will never be full. Correct?
Right.
That is what Rahu does. He makes you want more power, more money, bigger house, bigger car, bigger grand lifestyle. That's what Rahu wants. More employees, bigger business. Ketu has no head. He's just a stomach. So he cannot see. But पेट जब भर जाता है, you're happy. And that's where you don't think. So if your Ketu is very strong, you're not going to work very hard in your life. You're not going to want many things in your life. On the other hand, if your Rahu is very strong, you will be unfulfilled happiness. कभी खुश नहीं रहोगे आप. You always want more. You always compete with yourself. Okay. Rahu and Ketu create the karmic axis of your life. Whichever house these planets sit in are very, very important. Very important. You're an RJ. जितने actors, authors, writers, RJs, movie directors, producers, जितने होते हैं, they have very strong Rahu with Venus. Venus is the planet of acting. Venus is the planet of beauty. Venus is the planet of fashion. When Rahu sits, he enhances that. बढ़ा देता है. He wants to increase Venus. So assume if Venus is sitting with Rahu in the third house, your house of hobbies, you're going to do very well in writing, acting, right? On the other hand, if Venus is sitting with Rahu in the 10th house, which is career, he will tell you, go become a model, go become an actor, go do something in Venetian fields like real estate, luxury properties, that way. On the other hand, if Rahu is sitting in the 7th house, which is your house of marriage, you will likely marry somebody who will be from a different ethnic background, different cultural background. The 12th house is your house of moving away. If Rahu sits there, he almost always takes you to a foreign land to stay. So when people come to us and say, who will I marry? We look at placement of Rahu. If he is in the 7th house or he's looking at 7th house, more than likely out of community, out of caste marriage. People come and say, will I stay in India? Will I migrate to USA? Will I stay in USA? Will I go back? You have to see Rahu. That brings another interesting point. Rahu is expansion. and Ketu is contraction. जब शादियां
Now,
होती हैं,
before we go ahead with this, let me hand out the studio number one more time, because I definitely, चाहते हैं कि obviously ये topic इतना interesting है और बहुत से लोगों को बहुत से सवाल होंगे. 732-662-4701. That's 732-662-4701. अगर कोई सवाल है आपको आपकी लाइफ के बारे में, करियर के बारे में, maybe about your marriage or anything related to your health, feel free to call 732-662-4701. Yes, Dr. Saket, back to you.
so Rahu expands and Ketu contracts.
Hmm.
हम देखते हैं कि majority of the times when people have kids, it is in Rahu Dasha. Remember that. Because Rahu expands a family. People get married, Rahu Dasha. This is something to note. Rahu gives more. Ketu will stop or take away. Many people say that Rahu is a very scary planet. Actually, Rahu is a planet which can cause blockage of the moon. It can block your moon. It can block your mind. But Ketu can block the sun. So Ketu is actually more dangerous than Rahu. Rahu, when it aspects the moon and Saturn aspects the moon, it causes some mental imbalance in people. In fact, a lot of people who are in the mental asylum, they have very strong influence of Rahu and moon. But people who, when they pass away many times, it is primarily Ketu that is responsible for one death or the other. So remember, Rahu gives, Ketu takes. Rahu expands, Ketu contracts. Rahu is unfulfilled desire, while Ketu will be standstill. अगर हम आपके career house, 10th house में राहु देखते हैं, we tell you you can do better in life. You just have to put effort. You will go up. If we see Ketu, almost always the person is very comfortable with their life. They don't want to work very hard. They are happy, they're content, and they say, no, jaisa chal raha hai, chalne do. This is what we want to do. Okay.
Right.
Rahu is a revolutionary planet. He can make things happen. People who invent technology, who do stuff, modernization stuff in life, that's all Rahu. Remember, Ketu is more spirituality based because you're disconnected with life. You're going to be disconnected with people. So again,
just when you mentioned that, Saket, just out of curiosity, when you say Ketu आपको disconnect करवा देती हैं world से, so is that a very strong Ketu in the people that renounce the world?
see, there are very few people who renounce the world. Even those people who renounce the world have their mind somewhere sitting in their family or somewhere sitting in their home. They always want to know, how is my family doing? But yes, the first thing for renunciation we see is Ketu. Where is Ketu placed? Ketu, if it is in the 12th house, which is the house of letting go, that is what we like. Ketu in the 12th house means it is going to make you very, very disconnected from life in general. Rahu will amplify your life. Okay. It brings what we call Vata, and Ketu brings Pitta. So, for example, if Rahu is placed with Moon, it will bring unsettling emotions to the mind because the mind is going to start wandering, right? Rahu is big, it expands. If Ketu sits with the mind, it gives you peace. You'll be happy. You'll be content with what you have. You don't aspire more. You don't want more. So, Ketu is, but Ketu can also create problems if it is in a marriage house because then you have no relationship in general with your partner, no emotional bond. You're disconnected. So, Ketu, yes, if Ketu sits in your children's house, you take your kids for granted. You don't put too much effort in them. So, be careful where your Ketu is placed. But just like planets, Rahu, Ketu also have friends and they have enemies. So, Rahu does very well when he sits with Saturn, Venus, or Jupiter. Ketu does very well when he sits with Mars, Venus, or Saturn. Rahu is enemies with Sun, Moon, and Mars. Ketu is enemies with Sun and Moon. One thing you must understand is Rahu and Ketu, when they're placed in a birth chart, Rahu always acts as Saturn. Ketu always acts like Mars. Rahu always acts like the planet जिसके साथ बैठा है. So does Ketu. And Rahu acts like the planet that owns the house it is sitting in. So both Rahu and Ketu will have three characteristics. Four actually. One, their own characteristics, which is expansion for Rahu, contraction for Ketu. Second, they will have the characteristics of Saturn for Rahu, Mars for Ketu. Third, whichever planet sits with them, they will take that quality too. And fourth, they will take the quality of the house that they sit in. So these are not easy to interpret. They're not easy to study. Unlike some planets which have only one drishti. So agar hum kundli dekhte hain, we say Jupiter is looking 7 houses away, 9 houses away, right? 4, 5 houses away. Rahu Ketu can look at 7 houses, 9 houses, and 5 houses away. So they impact planets in a big, big, strong way.
And at this point, agar aapne abhi tune in kiya hai, let me hand out the studio number, and also let me remind you कि फिलहाल हम in conversation with Dr. Saket Bhatia hai. Dr. Saket Bhatia is he's got a PhD in astrology, certified numerologist hai, और senior board member of the IVAN. 25 years का experience है, 12,000 से भी ज़्यादा इनके clients हैं जो celebrities, politicians, and a lot of business men involved, are included in that. And every Tuesday, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, Dr. Saket Bhatia is here giving us knowledge about the various planets and the graphs and things related to that. आज का topic है राहु, और आप सिर्फ ज्ञान ले भी सकते हो if you want, but you can also, this is a very interactive show, you can always call into the studio and कोई भी एक सवाल आपके, चाहे वो आपके career से, आपके health से, आपके marriage से related है, feel free to ask that to Dr. Saket Bhatia, because ये opportunity आपको हर Tuesday को मिलती है. Studio का number है 732-662-4701. That is 732-662-4701. And I think we've got a phone call, Joe. If you're trying to call in, you have to try calling in again. So yes, 732-662-4701 studio का number है जहां पर आप phone कर सकते हो और consult कर सकते हो Dr. Saket Bhatia से. Hi, you're on air. You'll have to turn down the radio volume. Hello?
Hi.
Huma,
Hello.
I think I've lost you.
Hi.
Can't hear you.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you so much. Dr. Saket is here. He can hear you too.
Okay. Hi, Dr. Bhatia.
Hi, how are you?
My name is Shafali Sharma. I just want to know about my Rahu and Ketu placement in my birth chart.
Okay, what is your date of birth?
Just a second.
What
Dr.
is your
Saket,
date of
can
birth?
you hear? आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही, Saket जी.
Well, I'm able to hear you on the computer, but I
just a
cannot hear
second.
you on the phone.
Can you hear Dr. Saket?
I can hear you, but I can't hear
Hello?
you on the phone.
No, I cannot.
You can't.
I can
You
hear
cannot.
you.
You can hear me. Okay. Let me see. Let me try another way. I'll have to disconnect you, and I'll have to ask you to call me back. Okay? Stay tuned then.
Okay. Yep.
Dr. Saket, you couldn't hear her?
Can you hear me?
Saket ji, आपको आवाज नहीं आ रही थी?
No, I
Listener
can hear.
की?
No, I could not hear her.
You could not hear her. Okay.
No, I can hear. No, I cannot.
You cannot hear her. Okay, because she was asking about her Rahu and
I know I
Ketu.
can hear her from the computer, but not from the phone where you've called me, from where I'm supposed to hear. But then you
not
can't hear
from-
me.
No, I cannot hear you too. There was a. Let me quickly try and switch the phone. जब तक the caller, I'll give you another number to call in a few minutes. Dr. Saket, you were explaining something about the overview of Rahu.
So what I'm trying to say more about Rahu Ketu is that, like I've told you, what they do, what they represent, and how they act. My personal perception is Rahu is the main planetary factor behind insanity, neurosis, neurological disorders. Uh, Basically, this is very true when Rahu influences your mind, the moon, especially if it is conjunct your moon, that is never considered good. Okay. It will take over other factors. If Rahu joins moon, is aspected by Saturn and sits in the house of Mercury, especially in the fourth house, it's going to cause big problem for you. Big, 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 big problem. It's not common, but it happens. Okay. Rahu and moon conjunction are not very common with the Saturn, like I told you, right? Are you trying to connect again?
So what we are trying to do over here is, Dr. Saket, I'm trying to switch the phone for you so that हम callers को line पर ले सके.
Okay.
All right. So yes. Okay, मैं number change करने लगी हूँ, and I'm trying to give out that number for the people to call in the studio. The number is 848-247-9911. So 848-247-9911 is the number. Ji, Dr. Bhatia.
The key to today's topic is more Rahu, less Ketu, right? So the key to most nervous, psychological, and emotional disturbances, people who do lots of drugs, people who do lots of psychological...
I have a phone call. Let's speak to them. Hi, you're on air.
Can
you hear me now?
Yes, Dr. Saket, I can hear you.
Hi. I don't know what's happening, but we can, yes.
Sorry about that.
That's fine, perfectly fine. So yeah, I'm very interested about Rahu and Ketu placement in my birth chart.
Okay.
So can you tell me a little bit about that?
What is your date of birth?
May 23rd, 1972.
May 23rd, 1972. Okay.
Birth time is 3:08 p.m.
So 15:08. Okay. Place of birth?
Birthplace is Jaipur, Rajasthan, India.
So if you look at your chart, your Rahu sits in the 5th house, which is the house of children, the house of luck, the house of speculation, the house of gains. Your Ketu sits in the house of gains, actually, which is how much money you will save and how you will use your money. So let me try making that a little easier for you. How many children do you have?
2.
Because Rahu sits in children's house, typically gives 2 or more kids. You have 2, that's fine. Your Rahu and Ketu are in neutral dignity. Okay. Rahu acts like Saturn in your case. It sits in the house of Saturn. Saturn is sitting in the house of luck. You have good kids, but expect your children to move out over time. As they grow older, they will move away. Especially 2032, they will move. Ketu your Rahu is placed well, undoubtedly good position. But on the flip side, Ketu, which is gains, you have a job, you have income, you have money. You are not using that money wisely to expand your gains. That's what your Ketu is doing. Sometimes when you earn money, you put it in a bank, you have a CD, you're getting 5% interest. Some people will buy land, some people will buy surplus houses, some people will buy some other things. In your case, your Ketu is in the house of gains, which prohibits you from venturing into that field. So I always tell people, study your Ketu carefully, because your Ketu acts like Mars, which is sitting in your Kundali. Mars is considered an average planet, not the best. But your Ketu also acts as moon, which is in your ascendant. If you were to invest in some business, you'll actually do really well. You need to invest in something. And that Dasha started, Saturn Ketu, which is like Rahu Ketu Dasha, just started in March of 2024. You have 1 year to do something nice. Do it. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
You mean invest something like in shares or bonds or something like that, or?
That is a different game. You have to invest. The question is what you have to invest in. That we'll have to study. you'll have to invest in something, whether it is shares or bonds or real estate or property. We don't know, but kuch karo. Do not just let the money sit. That is what Ketu is making you do for years. Okay, kuch karna hai aapne. You have to.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I got it.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much for your phone
Thank you
call.
so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And जब भी कोई यहाँ स्टूडियो में फोन करते हैं फॉर ए कंसल्टेशन, डेफिनेटली एक सवाल से तो दिल नहीं भरता. यू डेफिनेटली वांट टू नो अ लॉट मोर, एंड अ कंप्लीट चार्ट रीडिंग के लिए हाईली रेकमेंड करते हैं आपसे डॉक्टर साकित भाटिया की ऑफिस पे कांटेक्ट करने के लिए, विच इज 408-639 5300 408-639 5300. अगर आपने अभी अभी ट्यून इन किया है, वी आर live with Dr. Saket Bhatia in the studios of Radio Zindagi. स्टूडियो में फोन करने के लिए नंबर है 848-247-9911. That's 848-247-9911. We are talking about Rahu, and Rahu की से related जो भी चीजें हमारी लाइफ में होती हैं, उसके बारे में आज हम बात कर रहे हैं डॉक्टर साकित भाटिया से.
So remember, different planets have different characteristics. Like Moon is a watery planet, right? Same way, Rahu is an air planet. Just like air keeps moving anywhere, Rahu can go anywhere. Wherever you want, it will go. Rahu will lead you to worldly accomplishments. Remember, अगर लाइफ में कुछ बड़ा करना है, make sure your Rahu is strong. अगर राहु आपके 12th हाउस में बैठा है, which is the exact opposite of, you asked me a question, people who disconnect themselves from others, spiritual gurus,
Right.
Ketu is in the 12th house. On the contrary, if Rahu comes in 12th house and with a good planet like Venus, and it is sitting in, let's say, Pisces or something like Taurus or Libra, then it's going to give you innumerable fame, lots of power, lots of luxury in life. बहुत मिलेगा आपको. We've seen this and it's proven it will give you a lot when the time comes. Give you more than what you can imagine, but will take you away from spirituality. उल्टा हो जाता है. Okay. So life में कुछ बड़ा करने के लिए make sure you have a strong Rahu. Very, very important. Don't get worried of this planet. It's not something you should.
When you say make sure that you have a strong Rahu, right? और ऐसा होता नहीं है कि I mean, obviously, because these are pre-planned things, और जो होती हैं, whatever's in your chart is your chart, is in your chart. But is there ways to kind of fix it or make it more favorable to ourselves? I mean, ताकि it works in favor for us. Now, before you answer that, let me hand out the studio number one more time. 848-247-9911. 848-247-9911. Live in conversation with Dr. Saket Bhatia. We are discussing the do's and don'ts and the goods and bads of Rahu today.
So you brought up something interesting. Remember, when you are born, planets are placed in certain houses. Unless Rahu is placed in a bad house or debilitated, he's going to function properly. Plus, Rahu also, remember, Rahu will also act like other planets. So, अगर राहु आपका गलत घर में है और राहु बहुत weak है, that's okay. Rahu still acts like Saturn. Rahu will still act like the planet lord and the house he sits in. So there is not one, but 4 factors that impact Rahu. Remember. Plus, Rahu transit में जब राहु के ऊपर आता है, then it's going to make your life a lot better. If Rahu is transiting your 5th house, like the lady who called, it wasn't transiting, but if it were, it gives you children. If it transits 7th, it gives you marriage. If it transits 10th, it gives you promotion in your job. These are very important. Jitne Bollywood celebrities hai, I know because Radio Zindagi is more targeted towards Bollywood. Look at their charts carefully. They have to have Rahu in the 10th house, which is house of career, 11th house in the house of fame, 3rd house in the house of hobbies. This is very common in their chart. Or 1st house, which means you are somebody people will look at. You are setting an example for people. Ye Rahu deta hai. So I want to talk more about Rahu. which sign Rahu is good and which sign Rahu is bad. But before that, हम पढ़ेंगे कि राहु किस चीज का कारक है. If you come to an astrologer and say, हमें लाइफ में ये करना है, we must know ये कारक क्या है. If you say हमें शादी करनी है, we must look at Jupiter for a woman or Venus for a man. Same way, if you say I want to do something which is Rahu related, then we must understand Rahu kya hai. So let me make you understand Rahu Karak. What does Rahu give you in life? Rahu gives you research. Rahu makes you stay in a foreign land. Rahu makes you travel many different countries. Rahu also gives you skin disease, epidemics. Jitne, for example, we had COVID, right? COVID is caused jab Rahu ki dasha aayi thi. Rahu causes natural calamities. Remember that. Always. Rahu causes people to fight with each other. Rahu causes people to lie to each other. Rahu makes people gamble. Drugs, alcoholic is Rahu. Acting is Rahu. Having multiple partners is Rahu. People who drown in life, death by drowning is Rahu. A life of luxury is Rahu. People, on the other hand, people who deal with lots of stones or deal with granite industry, something like that, is Rahu. So Rahu, although it can be good, can be bad too. It is, look at, for example, look at actors, look at actresses. They put a fake face when they act in movies, right? They're somebody totally different. That is Rahu. Rahu means you are not the person you are born to be. You aspire to be somebody else, to be somebody different. This brings us to the next thing. Agar aapki chart mein Rahu strong hai, what is a good profession for you?
Before this, Dr. Saket, let me give another quick introduction. थोड़ा सा brief overview दे देती हूँ मैं, because there's a lot of people probably they are just joined in. अभी tune in किया है. तो Dr. Saket Bhatia has a PhD in astrology, certified numerologist है वो, senior board member at the Ivan, 25 years of experience के साथ 12,000 से भी ज़्यादा satisfied clients हैं उनके all over the world, including celebrities, politicians, businessmen, and the likes. Now, for a full reading of your chart, you can definitely contact his office, which is 408-639-5300. That's 408-639-5300. But on the other hand, you know, हर Tuesday को 3 बजे से 4 बजे तक हमारे साथ स्टूडियो में होते हैं Dr. Saket. So we are very, very lucky to have this opportunity to call into the studio and ask him, you know, one question regarding your life, your marriage, your career, possibly your, you know, your health, जो भी चीज़ है. So the number to call in the studios is 848-247-9911. That is 848-247-9911. So अगर आप कुछ जानकारी चाह रहे हो आपकी लाइफ के बारे में, do feel free to call 848-247-9911. Yes, back to you, Dr. Saket.
Coming back to Rahu. Rahu is an expansion planet that also causes disease. Rahu, since expansion hai, he's good for people who do research, because research means something you're expanding beyond what is being done today, right?
Right.
Rahu placed in the 5th house is great for stocks, great for speculation. Rahu is also very strong in lawyers, people who are scholars, जो medicines बनाते हैं, जो medicines research करते हैं, it's good for them. Rahu also represents aeronautics, airlines, aviation. Rahu with Mercury will be expansion in computer technology. Okay. But Rahu can also cause disease. When people drink too much and they get liver problems, Rahu is usually in the 12th house, and Jupiter is the planet that controls the 6th house, the house of health. Rahu rules over professions that are controlled by Saturn. Remember that. Rahu makes a person also gamble. Why do so many celebrities do drugs? Ever thought about it? Why?
No.
It is Rahu. Rahu, the planet that makes you the celebrity, is also the planet that makes you mind go blank, which is through drugs. Rahu is drugs. Rahu is alcohol. Rahu is having multiple partners. Rahu is doing everything which other people don't in general. Okay. Rahu gets directional strength. Matlab, if it is placed in the southwest of your chart, it becomes very strong. Southwest of your chart is what? It is more towards the fifth house, sixth house. That is where Rahu is very strong. Right? So study your Rahu very carefully. If you have a good Rahu, use it to your advantage and know your limitations in life. When people want to have a big friend circle, we see Rahu in the third house. Lots of friends. But those friends don't tend to benefit you much.
Huh.
Okay. आपको fame चाहिए, make sure your Rahu is in your first house or 10th house or 11th house. That will give you fame. You just have to work on it. Now,
साकेत जी,
think,
अभी आपने कहा कि use this Rahu to your benefit. So I'd like you to elaborate more on that. And at this point, I would like to mention to all the listeners that this is your opportunity to call in 848-247-9911. 848-247-9911. हम सबको पता है कि planets play such an important role in our lives, but to use something like Rahu to your benefit, how does that work? I think we're getting a phone call. Hang on. Hi, you're on air. Hello, you're on air. I think they dropped. अगर आप फोन करना चाह रहे हो फिर से 848-247-9911 is the number. And yes, so just out of curiosity, जैसे आपने कहा कि इसे benefit के लिए यूज किया जाए, तो वो कैसे करते हैं?
using that particular planet
I
for your
can't hear you,
benefit.
Dr. Saket.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me or no?
Yes.
Okay. You have to first understand where your planet is placed, how strong your Rahu is. If he is well placed and the Lord is well placed and so is Saturn, then use it to your advantage. Sit with the astrologer and tell them, hame kya karna hai life mein. We can guide you and tell you where you should be going. Like the lady who called a little before, her chart shows she has great kids. She'll make a lot of money in speculation. But her Ketu, which is sitting in the 11th house, prohibits her from investing in other things. If she does, she could do very well. Investing in what and when, those are also important. I know someone who came to us with one franchise, education franchise. We looked at their chart and said, you are in the wrong field. You need to get into fast food, not education, fast food franchise. Fast forward 8 years later, they have 16 fast food restaurants. That's not small.
Wow.
They are averagely opening 2 a year and they're going even faster. So, अगर राहु आपकी चार्ट में strong है, use it to your advantage. Talk to us, see how we can help you. If you want to go to college, you want to do research, Rahu must be strong. Agar Rahu weak hai, don't do research. Go into a different field. Rahu strong hai, yes, go for law. Many people come and say, I want to become a doctor, I want to become a dentist. But we see Rahu is very strong. Hum bolte hain, why? Why do you want to become a doctor? With such a strong Rahu, you can start something of your own. It will give you more happiness, more fulfillment. So, what you want and what life has planned for you are two different things. If you can align these two things together, you will be happier and more successful in life.
And at this point, yeah, I definitely want to agree with whatever you're saying. कि हम चाहते कुछ करना है, but obviously this is so helpful. Getting another phone call on the studio line. Let me see. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes. I have a question.
Dr. Saket, can you hear her?
Yeah, I can
आपको
hear
आवाज
her
आ
very
रही है?
clearly.
Go ahead with your question.
Okay, yeah, it is about my son.
Mm-hmm.
His
Okay.
birth date is April 25th,
Okay.
1995.
Okay.
Place of birth, Derby, Connecticut.
1 second.
Time of birth is 12,
Time of birth is what?
12:09 p.m.
It'll be 12:09 p.m., right?
Yeah, दोपहर में. Yeah.
दोपहर के 2:09, April 26, 1995.
12 बजे, 12:09.
के 9 minutes.
12:02.
9.
9 minutes.
Yeah, 12:09. Okay. What is your question?
It's about his marriage. मैं आज सुन रही थी, आप कह रहे थे कि जो के planet की placement आती है वो decide करता है. You will marry somebody outside the community and inside the community. So what does his chart reflect and कब होगी शादी?
See, कब होगी शादी? तो दशा तो start हो गई है, because dasha started in 2022 and dasha ends on 18th of May 2025. तब खत्म होती है. As far as who he gets married to, there is no direct aspect of Rahu on the 7th house. नहीं है. 7th house lord 8th में बैठा है. Neither is the 7th house lord aspecting. So 99% marriage should be in community here.
अच्छा, okay. तो देखते हैं, अभी तो is dating a girl outside the community, but वो कुछ पता नहीं चल रहा है.
He
कि
can-
कहाँ जाएगी वो situation.
More than likely it's going to be in the community, because see, Saturn is the lord of marriage in your son's chart. Okay, वो 8th house में बैठा है अपने ही घर में. उस पे राहु का एस्पेक्ट है, which is a good sign, but राहु का शादी के घर पे नहीं है. While relations पे दिखता है, शादी पे नहीं दिख रहा. There is a difference. You might
अगर वो दशक निकल जाती है 25 के बाद, क्योंकि मुझे आसार लग ही रहे उसकी शादी के, तो फिर अपने डेट से आएगी या
his Venus is exalted in Pisces, so that means I'm not going to say this on radio, but he can have more affairs in the future. Next dasha will start in mid of 26. तो दशा खुलती है, बंद होती है. We always encourage you to take advantage, because उसी के बीच में शादी होगी. हमने बहुत सालों से ये किया है, बहुत एक्सपीरियंस है. You're not going to be able to change this. जब दशा आएगी तभी होगी. And quite frankly, अगर 25 तक नहीं हुई तो mid 26 to end of 26 में हो जाएगी. That's it. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And there was a phone call on the studio number, but दूसरा number भी मैं hand out करना चाह रही हूँ. 848-247-9911. 848-247-9911. Just under 15 minutes to go. हम ये live conversation जो कर रहे हैं डॉक्टर साकित भाटिया के साथ, and आज का topic है राहु. और अगर आपको कोई सवाल है related to your chart or someone else's chart, 848-247-9911. That's the number to call on. And Sakit ji, हम किसी चीज के बारे में discuss कर रहे थे, how to make these, the Rahu placement positive and how to benefit from it.
So Rahu is again, Rahu is जितने industrialists होते हैं, जितने people who start a business, they always look at making Mercury and Rahu stronger. Mercury because business hai, Rahu because expansion in business deta hai. Now, one thing you must understand is Rahu cannot just be made stronger by itself. Side effect ho sakte hain. Rahu owns your feet and breathing. It owns that body part, feet and breathing. अगर आपका राहु 12th house में है, you will have problem with your left foot. अगर second house में है, you will have problem with your right foot. राहु अगर आपके ascendant में है with moon, you will have asthma. You will have breathing problem. Rahu can cause diseases if it is not checked. ज़्यादा strong कर लो, he can cause diseases of spleen. I told you Rahu can cause drowning, falling, death. We tried to analyze deaths of many people who have fallen, from high places to their demise. In all cases, we saw Rahu either in the 8th house or 1st house. Rahu means falling from places. Rahu can also cause disease of liver, insanity, skin disease. Rahu is a disease which is difficult to diagnose. But Rahu की जो disease होती है, वो generally treatable होती है. Rahu causes cancer when it joins Saturn. But cancer की treatment हो सकती है. You can argue and say not all cancer is curable. Depends on the stage, right? अगर late stage हो, जब राहु की दशा आ गई है, Rahu is a mature planet, you can't do anything. On the other hand, if Rahu की दशा नहीं आई है, you may be able to treat that cancer. You may be able to treat that particular skin disease. So when you make Rahu strong, always see कि इसका side effect क्या होगा and how it's going to impact that individual. People come to us with a very easy question. हमारा H1 कब होगा? Will I get a green card? It's all related to Rahu. Rahu is expansion. Leaving your house and going to a different house is Rahu. Okay. Remember, Rahu does this. But Rahu also, when I haven't even started discussing Rahu, but Rahu जब आपकी कुंडली में बैठता है, he can form some yogs. Some yogs can be very good and some yogs can be very bad. For example,
स्टूडियो का नंबर मैं देना चाहती हूँ क्योंकि just about 9 more minutes to go. 848-247-9911. 9 मिनट है आपके पास. डॉक्टर साकेत से अगर कोई पर्सनल सवाल करना है about your career, your marriage, your health, anything related to that. 848-247-9911. Ji, back to you, Dr. Saket.
So Rahu causes something called Kal Sarpyog. Kal Sarpyog is a yog. Yog है जब सारे planets are stuck between Rahu and Ketu, which means all the planets will be on one side of your chart and the other side will be empty. Okay. This is very important. This year, Kal Sarpyog का जो असर है, it doesn't necessarily last throughout your life, and it's not.
Let's take them on air.
Sure.
Hi, you're on air.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, can you turn on the radio volume, please?
Can I ask a question for my wife?
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, her birthday is November 6, 1959 in Pune, India. She was born at 12:10 in the afternoon.
And what is your question?
How's the health going to be? Could you tell me something about her, like her health or something?
For health, we are going to study only 6th house. ये जो कुंडली बनी है, it is run by Saturn, which is the lord of this kundli, and also this kundli is Capricorn based. पहले तो हमें देखना है कि कौन सा planet इस पे भारी है, छठे घर पे. Saturn is not debilitated. Sun is debilitated. Saturn तो friendly sign में है. शनि छठे घर को देख रहा है. Okay. साथ में we don't have Rahu looking at it, but we have Lord of the 9th looking at it. अभी दशा चल रही है Saturn Sun की. इस कुंडली में Sun debilitated है, means Sun is extremely weak. ट्रांजिट में Saturn बैठा है 2nd house पे. हेल्थ इज अंडर चेक नाउ. हेल्थ इतनी अच्छी नहीं है. All the way till 17th of September, health will not be very good. Okay. इसके बाद no, look, things are not good right now, and things are not going to improve till September 2024. I just don't see it improving. उसके बाद जो नेक्स्ट दशा आती है वो सैटर्न मून की है, वो दैट विल स्टार्ट सितंबर 2024. दैट इज गोइंग टू बी अनदर डिफिकल्ट टाइम फॉर यू. ये देखो, ये हेल्थ की इशू है. आई डोंट नो व्हाट टू से. व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम? व्हाई इज शी इन द हॉस्पिटल?
Oh, she's put on a lot of weight because of diabetes, you know. बहुत वजन बढ़ गया है उसका. She cannot walk. She's unable to get out of bed. She's like bedridden right now. So I don't know what to do. She's in the hospital. She's in the hospital right now, and yeah, I don't know what course of action to take.
See, from an astrology point of view, अब दशा चल रही है सैटर्न सन की. वो डिफिकल्ट दशा है आपके लिए. इट्स नॉट इजी. you have to take care because September 2024 में we expect health to go little not so good actually. You can call us if you want. We can help you, but I don't know.
Yes,
और क्या बोले?
definitely. 408-639-5300, 408-639-5300. ये डॉक्टर साकेत की ऑफिस नंबर है. आप प्लीज वहाँ कांटेक्ट करें फॉर मोर इन्फॉर्मेशन, बिकॉज लग रहा है कि ये कुछ पर्सनल और ज्यादा डिटेल्स में बातें हैं. तो 408-639-5300. थैंक यू सो मच एंड hope your wife feels better. एक और फोन कॉल आ रहा है. लेट मी स्पीक विद देम एज वेल. एक सेकेंड. जी. Hi, you're on air.
Yeah, hello.
हाँ
Hi.
जी.
Hi. Hi. My name is Kulraj Singh.
जी
Okay.
जी.
Okay. My date of birth is June 25th, 1970.
June 25th, 1970. Okay.
Of birth is around 1:15 p.m. and place of birth is Delhi, India.
You said 150 or 115?
1:15.
Okay, so June 25th, 1970, which is Thursday, 1:50 p.m. in Delhi, India. Okay.
Not 5015, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
And what is your question?
My immigration case is pending in the court, and I have a date in October. It's coming October. So the case is for 4 people: me, myself, my wife, and my 2 children. So wanted to know what will happen. Like, I've been waiting along. So just wanted to know, is it a good time? It will happen or no, or something like that.
And कभी है hearing आपकी?
October, 24th of October.
See, ये जो कुंडली है इसमें दशा आती है वीनस मार्स की October 20th को. Okay. Venus इस कुंडली में is a very lucky planet. He is the lord of 9th and he is lord of money. चलो, ये जो कुंडली है, this is run by Mercury, which is very well placed. Venus, Mars एक दूसरे से 12 घर दूर है इस कुंडली में. And Mars represents 3rd house and 8th house, house of break. उस पे दशा पड़ रही है राहु की. Are you absolutely sure कि 24th को है आपकी hearing? Because
24th of October को ही.
then I think आपने टाइम मुझे थोड़ा सा ऑफ दिया है, क्योंकि कुंडली के हिसाब से 14th November 2024 is when everything will fall into place for you. Means सब अच्छा जाएगा. अगर आपने मुझे टाइम 5 मिनट भी ऑफ दिया है, then everything will work out for you. But अगर आपने टाइम थोड़ा गलत दिया है, then right दिया, then it's going to be tricky. So you have to make sure time is right. आपका राहु अपने घर में है, फॉरेन लैंड को देख रहा है, दशा भी चल रही है. तो लाइक आई सेड, अगर आपने टाइम राइट दिया है 1:15, देन इट्स गोइंग टू बी हार्ड. बट अगर आपने टाइम 1:10 है या 1:05 है, देन फॉर श्योर यू आर गोइंग टू गेट इट. दैट्स ऑल आई कैन से.
टाइम का तो पक्का नहीं है, तो मैं आपको कई बात बताऊं. एक बार किसी ने मेरा निकाला था, तो कह रहे थे इस हिसाब से 1:15 बनता है. अब आई डोंट नो हाउ राइट इट इज और रॉन्ग इट इज, आई डोंट नो. बट व्हेन आई आस्क्ड माय मदर, she says you were born at lunchtime.
Yeah, we'll see. This is called time rectification. उसमें बहुत time जाता है. We'll have to ask you many questions to figure out कि exact time क्या है. And then we can tell you, because ये जो आपने question पूछा ये काफी easy होता है astrology में. किसी को कहना कि immigration होगा कि नहीं. आप हमें फोन कीजिए. We can get your time and we can tell you in detail if you like. That's all I can say. यहाँ पर
And
मुश्किल
just
हो
one
जाएगा
more
time
minute.
निकालना.
One
और एक
more
time
minute and I have another phone call to you जो मैं नहीं ले पाऊंगी. And sir जिन्होंने अभी phone किया था, you'll have to hang up the phone. And yeah, thank you so much for your phone call. And you know what, बहुत से सवाल unanswered है, and I do see a lot of people are very, very keen on knowing about their immigration की results. तो मेरे ख्याल से डॉक्टर साकेत एक स्पेशल बनता है उस पर. We definitely should look into that. And बहुत से लोगों ने आज फोन कॉल किए हैं. Thank you so much for your phone calls. एक detailed reading के लिए please reach out to Dr. Saket's office 408-639-5300 408-639-5300. www.saketbhatia.com is the website. And Saket ji, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Huma, and thank you to all the listeners. We'll come back again next week with another topic again
Next
on
Tuesday,
Rahu.
3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, same time, same place. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Bye.
Thank you.